With Christmas just around the corner, I've teamed up with the folks at Kerrygold to come up with 3 very delicious and festive recipes to see you through the Christmas period. Every Christmas I am on the lookout for a show-stopping dessert, and this, my friends, is the one for you. These mini molten chocolate puddings are the most delicious show-stopping Christmas dessert you will ever make. It starts off in a pan with some Kerrygold Irish butter. So melt your butter and we're going to add some dark chocolate. Make sure it's nice and finely chopped. So just give it a little swirl and a swivel, and then I'm going to leave this aside just to melt down while I get on with some whisking action. Now, for the core of these little mini molten chocolate puddings, I have 3 eggs. And these are 3 large free-range eggs. To that, I'm adding in some castor sugar. And we're going to whisk this up until it becomes really light and fluffy. And you will see this change from a completely kind of liquid mixture into something that looks very voluptuous. Oh, yes. At this point now, we need to get in there with our dark chocolate and butter mixture. Get your mixer back in there, give it a quick whisk. So I have a nice chocolatey mixture, but to bring this together and to make sure that it does have some sort of a cakey feel to it, I'm gonna whiz in some flour. Now, when I say whiz, I mean sieve in some flour. It's only a tiny, tiny bit of flour, and the reason it's only a small amount is that by only adding a small amount, you're going to get left with these molten interiors. So once you have it sieved in fully, grab that spatula and then just fold it in very gently. One of the fantastic things about these puddings is that you can make them in advance. Stick them in the pudding molds, stick them in the fridge, and just when you're ready to bake them off, you can stick them in the oven. So this is looking pretty good. We've got a nice mixture here. I'm gonna add a tiny little pinch of salt just to balance out all the sweetness that's in there. And then finally, this mixture is now going to go into these pudding molds, which I have greased with some butter, and I've also dusted them with some cocoa powder so that they have some nice cocoa exterior. And if you wanted to go the extra mile around this Christmas time, you could also add some gold dust in there. It would be lovely. Now, normally in the video, this is the time where I tell you how long these go in the oven. But this is a fine art. They go in at 180 degrees Celsius and they take anywhere between 12 and 15 minutes depending on your oven. What you're looking for is a nice little bit of wobble in the center, which means that you still have that molten interior, but you're also looking for it to be cooked ever so slightly on the outside. Now, while mini molten chocolate puddings are delicious just as they are, I'm going to go the extra mile because after all, it is Christmas. I've got a bowl of sieved icing sugar, and to that, I'm going to add a tiny drop of water and just twist through until I have the right consistency. This is looking pretty good, and if you can hear the beeping behind me, it means my molten chocolate puddings are done. So I'm going to grab them out of the oven. I'm going to take them out. They've still got a little bit of wobble. So I'm going to rest them over here just while I get on with my icing. My lovely snowy white icing is now done and ready for my mini molten chocolate pudding. So we're going to serve them up. I have a tiny little plate here. I have my molten chocolate puddings, which should have rested quite nicely. I have an offset spatula, and you just have to carefully make sure that they're loose all the way around. I'm going to stick the plate on, and then I'm going to get a tea towel. Stick it over like this, take it out like that, give it a little wobble, and hey presto, how good does that look? And what we should have in the center is a beautiful molten chocolate pudding. But before we check that out, I'm gonna stick on a little bit of this icing and make these into the Christmas treat I promised you. Finish off these little molten chocolate puddings with some berries and some holly, and you have the ultimate chocolate dessert for Christmas time. It looks so cool, and now we have got to try them because they're still warm. And when you dive in here, come in, you've got to see this, come in close. Have a look in here. Oh, chocolatey and goodness. And now, take a little bit of that, a little bit of this. Hands down, one of the best chocolate desserts you will ever make, you will ever eat. And for Christmas, it is a real winner. If you want the recipe, check it out in the box below over my website. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment beneath if you're having a happy Christmas. See you soon, guys.